Hi guys, I'm Ben with Genesis Laser Designs, and today I want to talk to you about starting a laser engraving business. So if you are a hobbyist and you love just making creations and things like that, but you want to keep it a hobby, then this video is not going to be for you. But if you want to take your game to the next level, or maybe you haven't even bought the laser yet, and you're thinking about starting a business, then you'll want to listen to this video. Alright guys, so who am I? What is my business all about? Again, I'm Ben Jerome. I own Genesis Laser Designs. A year ago, we started making face shields, like a lot of other people, on 3D printers. So we were 3D printing them, donating them locally until we started getting a lot of interest just from the general public who wanted to protect themselves. So we started selling them, and then we got a really large order, which kind of pushed us into lasers and really looking at them and seeing how they could benefit our process. So our first machine was a Glowforge. It was actually a Glowforge Pro. And we're going to get into different machines and specs and what types of lasers here in a little bit. So that was our first one that we got. Quickly realized that we needed something with a little bit more power, a little bit more capacity than what the Glowforge could offer. So if you're thinking about a business, I'm positive that you've already seen the Glowforge, all their advertising, and you're really intrigued by them right now. So we're going to talk about them here coming up. All right, so starting a business, what are some things that you really want to think about and some questions you need to ask yourself before you even buy the laser? Or maybe you have a laser right now, but let's talk to the person that you haven't bought one yet. What are some things that you should start asking yourself? And it starts pretty simple. What type of materials do you want to be able to engrave? Right? So people are going to ask you all the time, hey, can you engrave me this Yeti tumbler? Or can you engrave glass for me? Right? So those are two things right away that are going to really divide the lasers that you are going to be interested in, right? So first of all, let's talk about the Yetis or just tumblers in general, right? Maybe coffee mugs. Immediately you're automatically going to need a rotary. So you're going to need something that actually rotates that cup as the laser is going over it, so you get that clean, good looking logo that is proportionate across that tumbler all the way across. So you're going to need a laser that has a rotary number one, which means the Glowforge, it's out of there. It does not have a rotary, and it does not have the capacity or the height. I think it was like 2 inches that you could engrave. You could take out the crumb tray, but still, you don't have enough capacity to actually engrave a Yeti tumbler or something of a like. So something with a rotary, something that has some depth to it. Anything from like 8 to 12 inches of depth capacity is awesome. That's kind of what you're going to be looking for. And let's talk about materials, because that's really going to separate the two different styles of lasers. There's a CO2 laser and there's a fiber laser. CO2, you just got to think of it as kind of the everything laser, right? It can engrave leather, wood, glass, plastics, acrylics, all of those different mediums. What it really doesn't do well at, and really not at all, is deep metal engraving or metal engraving in general. So if somebody hands you a flask and it's stainless steel and they want the initials actually engraved into it, you can't do that with CO2. You have to use a fiber laser. So fiber is phenomenal for metal engraving and deep metal engraving. So if you ever see guns that have that awesome pattern on them or knives that are actually engraved into, that is done with the fiber laser. CO2, again, really all the other ones. Fiber can do some other materials. It can do wood, not very well. It can do plastics pretty well. So there's some things that you just want to be aware of when you're choosing what type of laser you have. We upgraded to a Trotec Speedy 360 Flex. That means it has a CO2 and a fiber laser built into that. So it has the options to do either or, which is fantastic. The 360 has a really good bed size of 32 by 20, and I want to say it has about 11 inches of depth for the bed to drop down and do larger items in it. We also have a dedicated fiber laser, which is a 50-watt fiber laser, so we can do deep metal engraving, which has been phenomenal for our business. We also got into sandblasting. So if people call you up and they say, hey, can you engrave into a stone or a boulder or a headstone that we have? Then you're going to want to really look into sandblasting. And so we actually have all three now. We do sandblasting, we have the CO2, we have the fiber laser. So we kind of have it all covered to where we really can engrave a wide range of materials. If somebody calls me up, I know I can be confident in saying, yes, we can engrave that. So those are the two different styles of lasers, and they range in price from anywhere from a couple $100 all the way up to thousands of dollars. And if you research Trotec, you're going to see that sticker and you're going to have a little heart palpitation, but you got to realize that if you're starting a business, you need capacity and capability. Those two things are very crucial. So really kind of think about setting yourself up for success in the beginning. You do not need thousands of dollars worth of laser equipment to start though. You could find a Thunder laser, which is a really good laser, really good bed size for right around the same price as a Glowforge Pro. So I would look at those options to be confident in what you can do. Glowforge is great, you can do little items, but it's not going to be a long-term solution if you want to have a profitable laser engraving business. All right, so we talked about two different styles of lasers. We talked about fiber laser, we talked about CO2 lasers, and there's so much information out there. Let's talk a little bit about customers, because that's really the main question I get a lot is, Ben, where do you find your customers? How are you getting projects? And this is one of the most important things that you can do. And let's just talk about, if you're watching this video and you are just a hobbyist and you're not looking at growing a business, then a lot of this information is not going to apply to you. A Glowforge could be perfect for you, right? So you can do those little crafts and those things. But if you're looking at an actual business and you want to make money at this business, it's really important that you are setting yourself up from the very beginning with your equipment, and then also with how you're marketing your business, right? How are you actually going out and getting customers? And I will tell you what we do at Genesis Laser Design. So the first thing that we do is we try to have a strong social media presence, right? A lot of people hear that word and they kind of cringe. Social media, I'm not really good at that. What does that mean? And it just means posting your projects, right? It means have a story behind them. So when people actually see that urn or that tumbler that you just made for somebody, there's a story behind it. And people like to watch that. People like watching the creative process of something being engraved. It's just fun to watch. So having a lot of video content, if you don't have a GoPro, maybe you get a GoPro and you throw it in with a laser. Those are always great videos. So when people see your product being made, then that sparks interest. So that leads me to the customer sides of this, right? So having that strong social media presence is automatically going to get people's interest and get them thinking about your business. So the more you show up, the more they show up. But that's not all that we do. It takes money to make money. I'm a firm believer in that. So no matter what your budget is, having Google ads out there are very crucial to getting your brand out there. So when people type in laser engraving, you show up top in the list, right? So that is what we're doing right now. We run Google ads for our business. We run some social media ads, but honestly, Google ads is really one of the main ones that I run. And the most important thing that I do, even beyond the ads, beyond social media, anytime I have a customer that walks through the door, somebody that I engrave something for, they also walk out with a link on their phone that I texted them to my Google review page. The more reviews you get as a business, I don't care when you start from day 1 to day 30, you can start this at any point in time. If you're poor in your reviews, do this tip. Download the Google business page. It's an app, and it allows you to copy the link to your Google business. And then before they leave your store, make sure they have it on their cell phone, right? Through a text message or an email, some way that they feel comfortable with. But people are more apt to fill out a review when it's easy for them to do it. So that's definitely something that we do. Every customer gets a Google review link, and then we encourage them to take a picture of their product that we engrave for them and attach it to that review. Some customers do that, some don't. The beautiful thing about leaving reviews for you on your business page is anytime somebody types in engraved Yetis, right, or wood engraving, as long as they tag something like that in their review, guess what? That ranks. That shows up in search. So when somebody types in wood engraving and you have a review on your page for that, and somebody mentioned a wood engraving on a box that you did, guess what? That helps feed your page. So all of those little tips definitely help on bringing in customers. Another thing that we do is we are really big on promotional items, right? So we will engrave a tumbler and we'll bring it out to a business, right? That's a sure way to get tumbler sales. So there's a lot of strategy behind that as far as how you're pricing items and things like that. But definitely giving away a product which shows your quality of engraving, and then you just getting that face-to-face experience with a person definitely can help boost your business. So I would say if you're starting out, you haven't bought the laser yet, I would start reaching out to some friends and family first and just say, hey, I'm about to buy a laser. This is the type of business I'm going to have. Do you have a list of some people, or maybe even the company that you work for, that I can start maybe designing stuff? Maybe you don't even have the laser yet, but you want to start designing things now, so when you do get it, you already have some things that you can start to make right off the bat. Momentum is key. You want to have as much momentum, building up your business as fast as you can before you run out of momentum. So I would definitely encourage you to make some promotional items, to get on social media, create a business page, get a logo made. If you're not comfortable making a logo for yourself, Fiverr's a great place to get a nice logo. And I would start to really build the legs of your business. We haven't talked about actually forming the business yet. And I think that's one of the most important things that you can do in starting a business, right? Actually forming it. And I am not a legal professional, so I'm not going to give you legal advice, but you could be a sole member LLC. And what that means is it's basically going to weigh your taxes against your personal tax, right? So any money that's coming in from that business, you could still use the same bank account and all those fun things. Talk to a tax professional. There's really no breaking the corporate veil. It's a great way to start if you're just a single member LLC. If you are maybe you have a partnership, right? Now you're looking at maybe a different type of corporation, like an S Corp or a C Corp. So look at that. But I would highly recommend that you take time to research different types of businesses that would be right for you. And I would recommend that you do form a business because that helps you when it comes to tax time. So definitely look at that. It helps you when you go to write off products and things that you buy at the store. It helps you in a lot of different ways. A lot of people kind of shy away from it, but it's a very simple process to get your LLC or form an actual business entity. All right, so here's some things that I wish I knew going into a laser engraving business, right? The laser engraving side is actually really simple. The actual engraving itself is not hard. The laser cutting, right, of a design, or you throw the wood in and you cut it and you stain it and you paint it, whatever you're gonna do, that's the easy part. The part that takes time would be the design, right? A lot of people overlook this. And I think it's one of the most crucial things that you can do when you start thinking about a laser engraving business is who is going to generate these designs? Am I gonna rely on my customer to provide me a design that may not be laser friendly yet? Right, so now I'm gonna have to go into an editing software and edit their logo to make it laser ready. Or do you have somebody that you know that can do the work for you, right? Fiverr, another place that you could reach out to and hire somebody to help you create designs. There's Etsy, where you can actually purchase designs and you can throw them in your laser and you can make stuff all day long and sell it. What I really want to encourage people though, would be, and I'm always on social media in the platforms, the forums, where people are talking about, hey, what's the hottest selling file right now? And oh, hey, send me that file. And then all of a sudden you see Etsy flooded with people selling the same thing. So I would highly recommend that you take some time and you really research a few different things. The first one would be Adobe Illustrator. It's one of my favorites. There's also CorelDRAW. There's multiple other designing softwares out there for you to look at. Some are free, some you have to pay for. But I would highly recommend you start to learn that process. That way you are totally free to design your own items that nobody else has, right? Which also opens up other doors for you. So you may design a file that you don't want to just cut yourself. Maybe you want to sell this file on Etsy. So there's multiple avenues of making money in your business than just designing something for a customer and only getting paid on it one time. So if you start to get good at design, you could actually design items that are made for a laser. You can test them on your laser and then go out and sell that file. So that's another way that you could make money in your business. So hopefully this video helps you guys. If you have questions about anything regarding laser engraving and starting a business, I know I'm gonna get a bunch of different questions on pricing. How do you price your projects? All of those different things. And that is gonna be a separate video. So if you're already wondering about that, how do I price things? I'm gonna have a separate video for you just specifically around pricing. Because look, everybody wants a roadmap, and here's the reality. Everybody's business is going to be different. What works for you may not work for me. You have a different audience than I do, and a different skill set. So, but pricing, we can talk about that. We can kind of figure out what works, because the worst thing that can happen is you get a laser and all of a sudden you don't know what to sell things for, and you don't feel very valuable yourself yet because you're a brand new business, and you start to underprice things. And now you're really dropping the market in the laser engraving business for the people around you. When reality is, we don't want to do that. We want to keep the margins higher. We want to keep the profit high, because it's an expensive business to get into, right? So it's not one of those things where, you just are doing free things for friends and family. Maybe you do in the very beginning, but you're gonna invest time and you're gonna invest money into this business. So you wanna make sure that you're pricing things properly. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, feel free to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what questions you guys have about this laser engraving business. Maybe some questions about my business. Maybe it's about the sandblasting side, or our machines that we have, or even design stuff. But we're gonna come out with a lot more videos to help you structure your business in a way that you can be profitable. Guys, I hope this helped you out. My name is Ben Jerome with Genesis Laser Designs, and I look forward to seeing you again.